Just drafted Demarvin Leal from Texas A&M. Really liked him as a football player. Really versatile, loose body, upper body, plays multiple positions across the line. Really going to, we think, has an opportunity to be a good player for us when he gets in here. But he does offer some versatility. He's got the frame to get a little bit bigger, but he does some things pass rush wise and the run game wise that we really like and we value here.
Questions?
Where do you see his best fit on the defensive line? I know you said all over, but.
Yeah, I think initially we'll probably look at him at an end spot. It all depends. He has some flexibility, but, if you're playing base defense, you can look at him as an end. When you're playing in your nickel defense, you may look at him at a different position. That's all to be determined as we get going.
Teryl, you mentioned this. He has a frame. Will he need to put a little weight on if he's going to play inside?
I think if he's going to play in the base, yeah, that position takes a bigger man, and he's got the frame to do it. I don't see anything. I think he probably was playing at the weight he was because that's where they needed him at his school. I have no reservations about him being able to fit anywhere in our scheme. Once he gets here, we'll figure that out.
Were you surprised to get him this late? Some people said he was probably going to go in the second round.
Absolutely, we had a very nice grade on him, and the fact that he was sitting there really surprised all of us, and so I think it was a no-brainer for us to choose him.
How much of a priority was it for you guys to add to the defensive line in this draft?
I think you're always looking to add, first thing, you're always looking to add good players, regardless of the position, because good players help us become a better team. But I think, you want to add some, if you can add a quality defensive lineman, a young defensive lineman, that always is helpful. You can't ever have enough of those guys, and really corners.
Did he do a lot of similar things at A&M that you're going to ask him to do here? And, how does he do against the run?
He does. He will do a lot of things that are similar. The difference is they don't play. A lot of times the offenses they play against are a little bit different than what they'll play up here. But he has the ability to do all the things that we'll ask him to do. You'll see him do it. He plays hat and hands at the line of scrimmage. He gets off. You see him pass rush. He actually so versatile. He'll play on the nose. He's played out in space. He's played out on the edge. So he'll be able to do what we want. I don't think that's ever going to be an issue with this young man.
Teryl, was it important to add some youth on that defensive line, and some of those guys aren't getting any younger?
Yeah, I think it's, again, like I said, Jerry, I think it's important to continue to add because you add young depth, young legs, and you have an opportunity to develop those guys. And I think that's really important to add those young guys in there. I think if you looked, I'm going to bring up a guy from last year, Loudermilk. We got him, and he really developed towards the end of the year and was playing, and he's going to develop into being a nice player. And I think that's why you always grab a young, talented defensive lineman if you have an opportunity.
Part of that, too, being able to lean on Kirk Cam or even Tyson or Tuitt in terms of being those guys that have been in the league for as long as they all have, to be able to be that guide, I guess.
Absolutely, and I think we have great veteran leadership, and those guys mentor guys, and because they understand the standard that's here with our defense, and they want those guys, even though they're coming in behind them, to live up to that standard and be able to understand what it takes to execute to that standard.
Does it remind you of anybody you've had over the years, Coach, in particular?
No, it's hard to say. He looks like a lot of good college players, and then we get here, we'll figure out what he looks like.
Other than Tyson, I don't know that you guys have a prototypical bigger nose behind him. Is that a concern at all for you as you think about the base?
No, it's right now it's not a concern. I'm just worried about the draft and these young guys that are coming in. All that other stuff will sort itself out as we get through OTAs and work through the different phases here. So right now I'm just kind of concerned with the draft and where those guys are, and once the guys we get, where they kind of slide in there.
Anyone else?
When you look at the struggles against the run last year, how much did you kind of attribute that to not having Tuitt and Lulu and the depth of the defensive line, and how much was it other things?
Well, here's what I'll say. Again, not to get off, we're kind of getting out into different areas, and it's, how about if I just talk about the draft tonight, and then I'll answer all these questions, because I'm sure they're going to come up at a different time about where we are depth-wise and maybe how the concerns we had based on last year. But really just kind of sticking to that guy. It's his night. Really excited to have that young man and how I think he fits in with us. We good with that?
Did you have any interactions with him or any intangibles that stuck out to you about him?
I did not have any interactions. Coach Dunbar was at his pro day, and he came back with some good news about him, and he liked the kid. He liked his demeanor. He liked the way he worked, and so that's always good. That always goes into the evaluation of the player, and so we felt real comfortable with him.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Theo.
Thanks, Barry.
Thanks.